This video is a tutorial on how to use the VFX assets contained inside the Vignette VFX pack for Unreal Engine. So, let it be known that this pack is mostly visuals. There's logic into this project, but it's gameplay demo type of logic. It's not something final. It's not something that you would actually use in your projects. Because this is something that we came up with just to show off the effects quickly and so you can understand and reverse engineer how everything is put together so you can control the vignettes on your own projects. But we don't know how you're handling those, so it's impossible for us to create something that's universal, right? So this is the demo map. If you go into the Vignette VFX and search for levels, you'll see there's the overview and then there's the post process. All right, so for the overview, this is the overview map. Now, if I play this, you'll see that this is using the brand new 5.7 third-person player. If you're using older versions, you'll get another type of third-person character right there. But keep in mind that for newer versions, you'll have to get this new update, which contains the functionality of the third-person blueprint, which is the character that you're seeing right there on screen. You'll also need the third-person template from the Epic Games Launcher Unreal Engine project creator. So make sure that you have that installed and create the third-person project template using that template so you can get this behavior in the demo. But remember that this is just for the demo. You could create a blank project and everything would be working nicely. The assets won't be affected at all. It's only the demo that you won't be able to play because you will actually try to play this demo scene and nothing will happen. The character will stay on place and so you won't be able to move or anything like that. So the main reason for that is that you need to create a project using the third-person template, okay? That being clear, you can see that if I now go ahead and check this board here, it tells me the different vignettes that there are. So I can press F to kind of spawn a vignette so you can see like water on lens going on in the screen. I can press the G key to disable the vignette, and I can press the numpad keys plus and minus to switch the vignette to the new one. There's the boarding one activated right now, but I can also activate the heart one like that. You can see that the currently selected vignette is the heart, so I can press F, and now it's showing the heart plus the burning. And then I can also add the poisoned, and I can also add the sci-fi shield, so you can get vignettes on top of vignettes on top of vignettes and disable or enable to your liking. Then we've also got the chambers. So if I come into here, you see that I'm starting to see the rain on the lens, and that's just an example using blueprints. So whenever you enter this room, you're activating a trigger, and that trigger spawning the vignette for the rain on the lens. Same for this one. This is the freezing one. For this one, it's the pain one. So whenever you touch the spikes, if I jump, you'll see that nothing's happening. But if I touch the spikes, actually, right there, you'll see that there's the hurt vignette happening. And as for this one, which is the bodily fluids kind of weird thing, you'll see the fluids going on screen whenever I'm touching this stream of weird fluids right there at the middle. So that's why that's happening. So this is for the overview, all right? For the overview one, we are using Niagara particles to handle a Niagara system that's put in front of the camera, and then it's kind of scaled based on the resolution of the screen and whatnot, which in my opinion is not ideal, but it's another option for you to be able to get those. So if you click here, you'll see that there's a couple Niagara systems, but the one for the vignettes is this one. It's containing a bunch of Niagara systems that get activated or deactivated depending on the need of that specific vignette, right? So I wouldn't recommend you use that for a real use case scenario. I would recommend that you go to the levels, post-process, and then here you'll find this actor, all right? There's an actor here called Vignette Post-Process Demo. And you'll see that there's a couple parameters that you can tweak. Let me just close this so you can better see. So there's an index and an animation speed. If I now press play, you see that I'm getting the third-person player going on, and also a blood-like vignette activating and deactivating. So if I switch this index to be like number 1, for example, you see that now it's the burning one that's coming in and coming out. And also I can change those in game. If I set this to 2, you see that this is the charming one. But if I want to select the fire one, I can press the minus key, and then you'll see that it's switching to the burn one. You could also activate as much post-processing as you want on your project at the same time, and it would work seamlessly. So activating a couple post-processing at the same time. Let's just do that right now. Let me just create a post-processing volume right here. All right, and I'm gonna search for the unbound infinite extent like that. And then for the post-process material array, I'm gonna create a new material, choose asset reference, and then I can search for MI, which stands for material instance, and then post for the post-processing ones. So I could select maybe the glitch mask, which is the glitch on the edges, and you see that it's happening already because I set this to be unbound. So if I disable the unbound, you will only see the vignette if you come into the post-process volume right here. So that's how it's working, okay? Now if I activate this and I access this material, you'll see that there's an option here called vignette intensity. So the way that this works is that you can control the vignette intensity parameter right here. If I modify this, you'll see that it's going to 0 and there's no intensity going on right now. I can set this to 2, so it's more intense. And so it goes like that. You can modify this parameter in real time for it to be able to switch the intensity, all right? So it's better than just having the blendable option. So you're blending in and out using the post-processing material thing here. So now if I press play, you'll see that I've got the vignette glitch going on, but then I also have the charming going in and out. So that's how you can add multiple post-processings at the same time, and it's working perfectly fine, and you won't see any issues with this. And also, let me just show you that you can actually dock this into the layout, for example, and you'll see that the vignette is adapting to the size of it. So if I press play, you'll see that everything is adapting proportionally to that. I can make it so this is the burning one. So you can see that it's adapting to the screen perfectly, and there's no issue right there. All right. So you can see that there's the post-processed version of the materials, which is the ones that you should add to the post-processing volumes. And then there's the normal ones, which are just essentially the ones used in the Niagara systems. Both options are available for you to use, so feel free to choose the one that better fits your needs. So if you go into the Vignette post-process demo right here, I'm going to be showing you the animation speed. So I can set this to 1, so the whole thing will be every second pulsating like that. If I set this to be like 5 seconds instead, you see that this is lasting for 5 seconds, and then it goes out at the 4th second and stays at off state for 1 second just for display purposes. But you can see that at the end it goes and fade out completely, it stays like that for a bit, and then comes back again, right? So it's working like that kind of. So I can set this to 10, so the intro is a bit more slow, and then it kind of stays there for more time, and it will fade out right there, and it will stay out like that. So you can control the animation, and this is the third-person character, which has just a couple new controls that I added. And then for the Vignette post-process demo, you'll find that there's a bunch of behaviors going on there, but if you want to switch the animation, you can do it like that. So this is a looping animation. You can activate or deactivate loop, so it only happens once, maybe. Okay, so let's compile and save. Let's set this animation speed to 1. So the charming animation will only happen once right now. Let me adjust this so it's at time 1, so it's lasting the whole animation. All right, let me play, and you'll see that it happened once, and it's not happening again. So you'll be able, using a trigger, for example, in blueprint logic, to activate this post-processing with this animation. And so you'll be able to animate it like that, and it will only happen once. You could make it play as much as you want. So let's say that I assign a key to this. So maybe the 4 number right there, I can press it and it will play from start. So each time I press the number 4, it will animate. Okay, so now it's not on the screen. If I press 4, it's activated again, and it's playing the animation again, like that. You can see that I can switch the different post-processings right here. So maybe the goopy one. And so each time I press the number 4, it's playing the goopy animation, right? So maybe the healing one. Okay, so let's say that I go through my world, whatnot, and then I just grab a healing item. So press 4, and you would get that animation. All right, and so you have to connect this behavior using blueprint logic. So you can copy this into your own blueprint. So maybe you've got the item actor blueprint that heals your character. So you can copy this, remove the switches because that's just switching the material. So you can only take the one that's the healing. So for example, maybe it would be, this is the glitch again, and this is the goo, and this should be the healing. So this would be the only one that you would need to keep to go in conjunction with the create dynamic material instance. This type of blueprint, I think it might be a bit advanced for beginner users, but the thing is that this pack is actually meant for a real use case scenario. So there should be someone involved that knows how to plug this into blueprints. In case that you're trying to reverse engineer this and still don't have an idea of how to use this, feel free to reach out to us at info@vfx.com, and we'll be more than glad to assist you and help you to integrate this in your project, right? But I think that this has been more than enough, and if you see a couple post-processing tutorials on Unreal Engine on YouTube, you'll be able to find the solutions pretty quickly, because it's something that's really basic on how to activate and deactivate post-processings and whatnot. You can also, just to mention that, you can also adjust the animation to your liking, so you can make the fade in super long like that, and you can make the fade out super quick like this, or you could make it so it's not fully activating at all times, so it's unless that you want to. So you can set this to value 0.2 instead of 1. So that means that it's gonna get only 20% of the intensity. So you can barely see the charm going on right now. You can barely see it. So that's why you're seeing it like that. And it's fading super fast, so it looks like it's just popping out of existence, but it's not the case. So yeah, you can better see the fade out right there. And so yeah, that's the thing with this. If you want the full intensity, you can set this to 1. If you want it to be more intense even, you can set this to 2, and it will work either way. So you can see that now this is more intense, way more intense. Kind of goes like 1, 2, and out. So that's the way for you to animate the vignettes right there. If you want the vignette to be active forever, what you could do is set this, instead of 0, you could set this to 2, for example, just like that. And you don't want this to loop at all. So this will play, right? And whenever it's finished playing, it won't do anything. But let's say that 4 activates it, and the number 5 instead deactivates it. All right. So let's, instead of play from start, it's gonna reverse. You don't need to reverse from end. You just need to reverse like that. And I think the best way for the 4 to work would be to play instead of play from start. So let me just do that. So you can see that this is active now. And if I press 5, it's deactivating. It's reversing the animation and deactivating. All right. If I press 4 again, you see that it's playing. But if I press 5 and 4 and 5 and 4 and 5 and 4, you'll see that the animation is constantly happening. So it's like, let's say that you grab a healing item, and when the animation is kind of fading out, you grab another one, so the animation will come in again, right? That's the use case for this, right? So you can see that right now, if I press 5, it's deactivating. Okay, and just for display purposes, I'm gonna keep this to 1 intensity, like that. And I'm gonna make it so it's displaying another effect. So maybe the fear one. So you can see that the fear is happening. So now I'm haunted by an entity, a ghost of sorts. So let's press 5 and I'm not haunted anymore. Let's press 4 and I'm haunted again. So it's super easy to use. And again, you can reverse engineer this and play it in your own type of blueprints and create your own behaviors with this. All right. Again, remember that the pack is mainly focused on art, and so that means the sounds and the effects themselves. So no gameplay logic fully created for you to be able to universally plug and play, but as said, you can use this as an example, copy and paste the notes if you want, and then adapt this to your specific needs. If you're really interested in learning real-time VFX, shaders, materials, textures, Blender, and such, you're more than welcome to visit clevender.com, which is our VFX Academy, in which you'll find a couple courses that will be super useful for that matter. So, see you there. Bye.